Good evening, free enterprise community. We are on RPG Limit Break tonight, and we are about to feature what I'm sure is going to be a very exciting race between Poidrac and Y2Sky. This is the opening round of the bracket stage. This is a best of three matchup with Poidrac currently leading the series 1-0. So if Poidrac wins tonight, he moves on. Y2Sky would need to win back-to-back races. And I am very happy to be joined in the booth by Baka Shinobi because no matter whether Poidrac gets his win or Y2Sky manages two in a row, they get a great prize at the end of that, don't they?
Indeed, they win the fantastic prize of getting to face Dusty Griff, the only two-time champion of any event in Free Enterprise, and I am sure they're both very excited to win that prize.
Let's not look too far ahead, though, because these two races are very good in their own right, and they put on an amazing show. Anyone who saw the first race a couple nights ago are hopefully hyped up for a near repeat. We had Poidrac winning by mere seconds over Y2Sky, and looks like we have a Palom start for our two racers tonight, which can be nice to start early with a pretty powerful young black mage.
I agree, Palom is a very helpful character to have. Does take one fight to get online usually to go and get those tier 2 spells, but once he has those tier 2 spells, he's going to be able to carry most of the fights on the overworld.
Yeah, and with our treasure setting kind of being reduced a little bit and less access to dependable money sources, having someone who just basically gets powerful as they get levels is probably not too bad. We have our usual set of 3 static objectives up top. The forging the legend sword with adamant, completing Cape Magnus, and trading away the pigtail. And then underneath that, we always have a random selection of either character hunts or boss hunts. Looks like we got one of each.
Indeed, defeating Ashura and getting Rosa. Good to know that Rosa's in the seed, a very solid white mage with his Palom start. If you choose to do reflect strats, she's definitely a second character you'd like to have as she learns her way at a pretty reasonable level. And Ashura is not a terrible boss to go and deal with either on these flag sets. Anti-mage equipment is very nice, but you can go and get away with that if you have some good characters like Palom and Rosa.
Yeah, the community has definitely developed a number of different strats to get through Asura, even at tricky spots. We have that lifelock technique, and as you said, if they see an early rune axe or mute knife, and then they get a corresponding character that can use it, that's going to be on their radar. And something I don't even think they would sell if we didn't have a certain sale flag on. Baka, you want to talk about this very different kind of sell flag that we have, shop flag?
Indeed, as turns out when you just endlessly sell rune rings to the vendors, they get kind of annoyed, so they've decided, no, we're not giving you any money for selling your stuff. Hawk your goods somewhere else. You cannot get money by looting and selling stuff to the shops. You will only get money by completing fights. So early money routing is very important. We do start with some money from the starter kit, but our runners going to be very cognizant of what they buy.
Yeah, we're about to find out in a few seconds just how much money they get. I think it rolls anywhere from in the 20,000s to up to 80,000, somewhere in that range. Let's see what they get this time.
And speaking of getting, starting a Rosa doesn't count as getting Rosa, so there's a duplicate Rosa in the seed.
That is indeed true. We have Baigan manning his usual post. Our vanilla Baigan waiting for our runners. Not a terrible spot to see Baigan. He can be pretty brutal in high speed, high damage spots. So I'm sure they're happy to know he's not going to be waiting in one of those spots. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with this with these 2 starring characters. If I was one of these runners.
Yeah, the real question, we do have the C Neki flag on, so the question of what starting equipment they have is up in the air. Generally, you start with something nicer than a normal rod and a short bow with iron arrows, but Rosa not having a bow at all might be a little annoying to our runners.
We'll see their early decisions here. We have some divergence. We have Poidrac going right for Castle Eblin, which can have some pretty decent loot, as does Watery Pass, where Y2Sky is headed. We'll see if either one of them exits this early looting with a definitive advantage.
Yeah, Poidrac not hitting any chests yet, but Castle Eblin does have because of the T-Pro flags, we have weighted treasures, and because Castle Eblin has the trap chest, their treasures are weighted higher, but finding a cursed ring in the Watery Pass could be very beneficial to Y2Sky.
I think I've seen a few poison axes on the screen. I don't know if that was 2 from Y2Sky or 1 for each.
I think it was
But
2 from Y2Sky because I believe the first chest and the last chest in Watery Pass gave a poison axe.
so that'll be very useful if we find an early Kane or an early Sid who can use those immediately. And yeah, as you said, those trap chests in Eblin, if you don't come out of here with a payoff and you're dealing with these resets, it does not feel so great. So Poidrac is going to be looking for something worth the time of the resets.
Yeah, Poitrac's checked 2 of the 3 different towers. There's the middle tower, the left tower, and the right tower. Finding trap chests in each of them, and I don't think he found anything amazing. Found all 3 trap chests, so it's free to full loot this place should Poidrac desire to, but I don't know if there's anything that great.
Y2Sky making an early purchase of charm arrows, some pretty decent, maybe slightly above mid-tier arrows, but definitely good for the early game. I did not see if he peeked at the equipment. I'm sure he must have, for Rosa to see what she has in the offhand.
Yeah, if he did, I didn't catch it, but those charm arrows are going to be the best arrows we can find in ungated shops. They are the 3rd strongest arrow in the game, so going to be able to do some pretty good work early on, I think.
Poidrac did pick up a lightsaber from one of the towers, and we did see, I think, a DKC Cecil in the Kaipo bed. So potentially, not Cecil's best weapon by any means, but you'd be very happy to have that, especially in the mid game.
I agree. It's a 99 attack power weapon and also a very high accuracy weapon, as is most of his holy swords. So definitely, I'm happy to go and see that. It's no X scale, but that's like saying, oh, I don't go and have the complete and utter destructive power of Dragon God and Viridia. I merely have Leviathan.
Right. Yeah, they both get the job done, and I guess light doesn't really miss anything, right? So that explains a pretty good hit rate.
Yes. Cecil's holy swords, among being quite strong, are the highest accuracy weapons in the game generally. And speaking of high accuracy, Poidrac now found a cursed ring, so our runners are tied up on that front.
Also getting a Protect Ring and Black Belt, also some good finds, so I'm sure Poidrac is not terribly disappointed with his choice to come here.
I think he's feeling okay about that, but I don't know if he found any great offensive options. Don't know if it's going to matter too much, as Palom's going to be a fantastic offensive option on his own right, but maybe you're hoping for something to get Rosa to carry you through the first fight, as she does start with a silver staff.
I think we're about to see that first fight in Antlion Cave. This could be a good routing choice to, because this should give Palom 1 level to get him that Ice 2, correct?
Yes. As long as... as I try to... the Seed would like to go and point out the few exceptions. Elements is a fight that, technically, it's 2 fights in 1. If you kill the first half, you get half the experience. If you kill the second half, you get the other half of the experience. You can't kill both halves in this fight, though, so you're not getting all of the experience, and this might not be enough to get Palom the tier 2 spells we want.
So not even if you reset and take the 2 different halves, that wouldn't do it, I guess.
Sadly, we cannot go and mix and match offers.
Nope. And nope, no one got any levels out of that, but we do have underground access, and that's pretty important in a game like this. To have a lot of options early is definitely going to make these runners have to make some decisions.
Yeah, the underground has a number of other good looting locations like that Castle Eblin, though. Will also take a bit of time, as there's a number of trapped areas, and some of them you don't really want to loot, like Sylph Cave has 7 trapped chests. I don't think they want to do that many resets.
No, I'm sure Poidrac has had his full of resets for now, and Y2Sky would want to take on those 7.
But Y2Sky delaying the Magma Key going to Hobbs first. This is where another character is, so if we can get another character, we do start with 1 Siren. Y2Sky may be tempted to go and burn that Siren, which summons the rarest encounter in a tile, and do a gold dragon grind to get a bunch of experience on Palom.
Yeah, and when you do something like that, as you mentioned, it's good to have a 3rd character to also take part in that experience. Y2Sky's Palom kind of stared down Porm for a second or 2, and he decided to take the fight. Antlion basically moving one fight over from his usual spot, and looks like Poidrac reset out of the Porm sighting.
Y2Sky said it's the third character, but it's Porum. But it's the third character, but it's Porum. But it's the third character and went for it. And Poidrac said, it's Porum, I'm not taking this. Maybe Poidrac will be back after quick getting the full experience from his antline cave.
Yeah, having visions of perhaps Ice 2 landing on that antline, which we know will not come true.
But Y2Sky taking good advantage of that twin magic, which does come from the twin. As if you have Palom and Porum, you can go and use that twin magic, which Poidrac currently doesn't have access to, and twin is enough to go and get you those first levels on Palom and let him start to get rolling.
That's true, and there's no penalty for taking Porum, even though you have the better white mage as a starting character. Unlike our last tournament, there is no permajoin on, so Y2Sky can choose to keep the Porum, or at some point might decide to replace Porum with someone that, does other things.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe we go and find two other characters that we really like and don't necessarily feel the need to replace them. We have a cursed ring. We can just simply slap that on Porum and make her a very solid anchor for the late game.
Brief sighting of leg over on Poidrac's screen, but quickly ushered off the stage.
We're just going to go and stand for that today. It was a bit too hot for our screens, as Hallam iced him down and made a swift exit. Poidrac also finding exits, which is going to go and give him a little bit of an advantage, as he's not going to have to walk out of Antline Cave.
That's a good pickup. Yeah, I miss where he got those from.
I didn't see it myself. I think it might have been from Mysidia.
Poidrac going to check one of our early boss spots, the Mist Cave, where normally we see Mist Dragon. So looking either for the Ashura, which is our required boss, or at least an objective boss, or that D-Mist itself, which is, gives a bonus item. But it also looks like Poidrac is going to take on this fight and check the Mist Cave loot, which even on T-Pro is a little higher percentages here, Baka. Is that true?
It is. The locations that are out of the way, such as the Water Pass or guarded by trapped chests, tend to have better than average loot. Poidrac also discovering that this cave has higher than average magic defense, and Hallam unfortunately isn't going to be able to do a lot of damage, and choosing just to reset and leave.
Probably a good call, considering that the magma key is out there and that we have some kind of just easy access spots, as Y2Sky is finding in the Feymarch cave.
I agree. Poidrac might have wanted to get a little bit of a nudge and experience to go and get those tier 2 spells on Palom, thinking, oh, this Mist Cave check should be quick and easy, and then not feeling so quick and easy after that. Y2Sky finding a black sword in Feymarch. Dark Knight Cecil's best weapon. It's still only 30 attack, but it is Dark Knight Cecil's best weapon.
And finding a package, which leads to a character check and a boss check if you'd like to sit through that. So I'm thinking if that's a really great character, or if it's the dupe Rosa that we need for the objective, we'll be seeing our runners go through that package early. I wouldn't be surprised if Y2Sky checks it when they emerge from the underground, whenever they choose to do that.
I agree, and it could also be a Fasoya. If you find Fasoya is on in these flags, unlike in Zima Zone 3, and he is a very good character to pick up. I think you really want to go and rush your gated character checks as soon as possible, as he will not show up in the starting 2 characters, Mount Hobbs, Baron Inn, but he can show up anywhere else.
It's one of those things where if you didn't immediately go for it and it was a half hour later and then you remembered it and saw the foo, you would probably have a sinking feeling in your stomach, wondering how long your opponent had the foo when you did not. That's how strong he is. Yeah,
Fasoya is a very strong character and definitely very check defining. Speaking of check defining, Y2Sky is checking this blue robe to see how free it is, and discovering it is not very free at all.
Hooligan?
Maybe they're just looking for a bit of soccer. But that is the alt gauntlet.
So you just have to get through those 2 hooligans and then 4 more fights, and that shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, that's Those are the random encounters from the local area, and those are not things you want to do at level 10.
No, and that's yeah, that's definitely one you want some either specialized equipment or a whole bunch of levels to deal with what's behind there, or some kind of special setup. Now, do both the Fate March Alt Gauntlets have the Arachne summon, or is that just one side?
I am not 100% certain. I know that the Conjurer is a very common summoner in there. I think, what is it, the Odin fight has the Conjurer in 3 of the 4 fights, and you get to go and see the wide range of summons from there, including the Imp, the Moth, the Dark Moth, I can't even remember what the exact name of the enemy is, and then the Dragon Clapper.
Well, we did have that.
Oh,
we have clarification. Rock Moth? Okay, I see. Just going to mention that starting item we got was the pan, so that's one of those things that you want to get as early as possible. Gives you the check down in Sylph Cave, and now Y2Sky is going to follow it up with a trip to Fabul and get a couple more checks in there as well.
Yeah, and because you've gone and walked through all those damage tiles with your characters, the great thing, the pan before you go to Fabul, you get a free heal before and after your Fabul fight, so any worries of damage are gone, but hey, there's an edge. I think that's another character kind of worth considering on these flag sets.
Absolutely true. Getting an edge nice and early, soak up all that experience, and make use of any high-level equipment you find along the way. Yeah, this edge and Fu are your must-takes. Rosa in this case because of the objective. Perhaps, though some runners, maybe if it was just a dupe Rosa, might wait for a shorter check. But yeah, edge is a must this early.
I agree. Edge is a little nerfed because, as we said, we have the Neki flag, so he does not come with any of his fantastic strength boosting armor, and only comes with 1 weapon instead of 2, so his damage potential is lower, but he's still a level 25 character. In the first 15 minutes of the game, he's pretty solid to have around.
Just to follow up, chat's giving some great answers to Final Fantasy J, asking why sometimes the runners will double dip a chest because they are throwing away an item. Some runners kind of automatically, if you tap the R button, it'll discard the item, and then if it turns out it was something they actually wanted, they'll go back and grab it. And as we mentioned earlier, you can't sell stuff. So even if it's a decent item for decent money that you don't even need, you're not going to keep it to sell because the shopkeepers won't give you anything. And one of the major time sinks a runner can run into is having a full inventory. The old inventory boss, which requires you to, more menus pop up, and it's little bits of time that add up a lot. So you'll see a lot of runners automatically discarding whatever they find. Yeah,
and Poidrac taking a short trip out of his way to go and pop his 1 siren in his inventory to play a gold dragon egg. That gets Virus on Palom. Very powerful spell, and Palom's also just mere thousands of experience away from Quake.
Yeah, so it sounds like the Fabul check will probably put him over the hump for that.
Yeah, and that Virus early on, it's probably making very quick work of that Fabul check, while Y2Sky is going in facing off Leviathan, not the Asura we need, so no required value from package, but Edge is going to be a good pickup because another thing Edge can do, Edge can steal, and the steal flag has been adjusted for this release to include the J item drop tables. There are certain enemies that are very helpful to steal items from. Would you like to go over some of them, Microcorks?
Sure. Cure 1's a lot you can get, which are sometimes useful, but I think you're probably talking about some of the more high-powered ones, such as Sirens, which you can get from the trap chests in Lower Babel, which could be more important now because of that limited money. I believe they got 44,000 at the start, so not on the low end, kind of a mid-range roll on their money kit. But if you can steal the sirens you need and save the 4,000 a pop that they cost for something else, I think that could be a big benefit. There are some other items you can steal too, though.
Yeah, if you go out of your way, you could steal Bacchus wines, but that usually involves finding a trap chest in Evelyn Castle or Upper Babel, which our runners probably don't have a great reason to go to at the moment. And Bacchus wines are great. They cost 5,000 each, but it also takes time that maybe you want to spend somewhere else. But those sirens are in Lower Babel, as mentioned, so that could be easier to justify. We could also, if you're feeling cheeky, you can go and sneak glitch charm harps onto people, but that's probably not entirely helpful.
No, you would need a very specialized set of circumstances that you're trying to overcome for that, I think, to be worth the time. It's fun to see, though.
I agree. Speaking of fun to see, we see that the karate fight is the first fight of Baron In, with Sid being the second fight. Poidrac came here instead of going to Fabul to get that free heal, instead choosing characters, but now finds Ashura. Poidrac is close to getting the first objective complete.
Yep, so no sneaky, out-of-the-way hiding of Sora for us tonight to make the runners really scratch their heads. Y2Sky is probably going to be greeting the Queen of Fame March pretty shortly himself.
Yeah, both these runners, I believe, are putting off Fabul for a minute, just going and checking this Baron in. One thing, I wonder if our runners are more interested in picking up characters before they do high-value EXP checks. Like, that Fabul Castle is a few thousand experience, definitely nice to have.
Not as important for the Sid. It'll do a little bit. If it was a lower level character, it would matter more. But yeah, still I think a decent plan and a decent thing to pursue. I wonder if Y2Sky's fight will be a little. I assume there's a mute knife going on there with that 2,000 damage.
Yeah, that edge has a mute knife equipped. He's doing quadruple damage against Ashura because Ashura is a mage type, and mute knives do quadruple damage to mages. But Poidrac getting through with Palom's J-skill bluff increases his wisdom in combat by 16 each time you use it, and it only caps at the normal cap for wisdom, so Poidrac just bluffed up a number of times and cast 1 or 2 viruses on Ashura, and Ashura is down for both of the runners at this point.
Maybe a little faster for Y2Sky, but yeah, as you said, not too bad for Poidrac either. And Y2Sky kind of gets, maybe the thematically more appropriate gift, though. Poidrac's going to say, ninja hat, and now actually ninja.
Yeah, Y2Sky does seem to be a little bit ahead of Poidrac, just having completed the package already. Already hasn't gone and done the Siren Grind that Poidrac did, but has Edge, has a number of other characters. Looks to be heading to Fabul now to go and get that ready.
We are about to see 3 key item checks: the defensive Fabul itself, and then the Sheila 1 check where you tell Sheila that you found her paramour down in the underground, and then another one when you reveal to her that you indeed smacked him with the pen.
As everything just pans out for Sheila, she doesn't have to leave the room but gets all of her questions answered. But we do see Poidrac now going through the cutscene as well for the package, as it's a lot of cutscenes. It's a lot of not necessarily making forward progress in the seed, but you're really relying on Edge to go and just accelerate you, as Y2Sky really demonstrated in that Ashura fight, coming into it after Poidrac, but getting out of it just seconds after Poidrac finished.
We'll see who dares assault the walls of Fabul today, and how fast it'll be demolished by this team, which is already getting pretty strong, less than 20 minutes in. And we have an Octomom. I don't know if we have a Thunderclaw. I don't know if it matters. We do have a magic user who can cast Lit 2 and probably end this fight.
Yeah, Octomom is not going to be doing so well today. It's not going to go and be the terror that destroys the hopes and dreams of speedrunners by sniping Rydia and her dancing dagger. It's instead just going to probably shockingly dissolve.
Not the strongest Lit 2 I've ever seen, but it got the job done with a little help from his friends.
It's Palom doesn't need to carry her that hard now that Edge is here. Maybe he's just slacking off a bit.
He does seem to have sometimes a bit of an attitude.
Thinks he can go and carry everything himself, but we do find the Twin Harp. That is what we need for objective number 2, and we still have 2 more key item checks here.
This seed could be telegraphing its end sooner rather than later. Let's see what these 2 Sheila checks reveal to us.
A Luca key, not quite what we want. Crystal armor,
Nope.
Not also what we want.
Crystal armor, normally a really great thing to find, and it's still a decent thing to find, but normally it provides a little bit of a decision. Do I sell it for the massive amount of money, or do I hold on to it for cover strats with a future Cecil? And we do know Cecil's in the seed if there's an easily accessible Sand Ruby. He was waiting in the Kaipo bed. And with the Cell Zero flag being on, that crystal armor again is either cover strat material or nothing.
Yeah, it is. The lack of being able to sell things definitely goes and throws off a fair number of our runners, as you really rely on just being able to go and, okay, I can loot extra to get more stuff, more shop fodder to go and turn into the big important items I need, like sirens or Bacchus wines or hourglasses or just some gear to fill up my characters, and you can't do that at all. But one thing you can do is afford a good number of life potions and cure potions. Poidrac finding life potions in the Kaipo shop and probably feeling quite pleased about that.
Yeah, that was a very helpful shop. Lives, Cure 2s, and Cure 3s. Cure 3 is less of a necessity when you have such a strong white mage, and in fact, right now, 2 white mages. I'm not just... Poidrac didn't take the Porum, I believe,
Correct.
right?
Yes, Poidrac just has Rosa. Yeah, I always love having some cure potions. Cure 3s are also great early game if you come across an undead enemy who's kind of annoying, because that's 1,000 damage on an enemy. Early game, that's going to take out most enemies.
Yeah, especially in the hands of a character that's not doing a lot of DPS on their own. It's kind of a big multiplier of what they'd normally be doing. Poidrac choosing still not to go to Fabul, so he's missing out on that Twin Harp. I mean, I'm sure he'll find his way there eventually, but let's say he happens to find a Sand Ruby up here. That could be a little bit of a benefit to Poidrac, because then he could go immediately pick up his Paladin.
Yeah, I can definitely see Poidrac. I mean, Y2Sky is going to the Twin Harp Cave and is going to go and be doing Cave Magazine and that objective done very quickly. Well, Poidrac is, I don't want to say mucking about with ordeals, but it's going to go and be delaying their trip to Twin Harp, to Cave Magnus.
But Poidrac finding some value of a different kind, not necessarily an objective, but we do have the D-Mist, and with the current flags that we are running, you kill the D-Mist, and after, and hopefully you remember you do, you go visit the Village of Mist, and Rydia's mom will be waiting there to give you another, at least a key item check, and hopefully for Poidrac's sake, a key item itself, but just got to remember that. There are 2 more fights after this.
Yes, it is a very... it's a rite of passage, to be entirely honest, of, I have killed D-Mist. I have forgotten to check D-Mist because I got something else in the meantime, or I did 2 other fights, or it was on the moon and I forgot to check, and oh boy, I've cleared everything else in the sea to find this D-Mist happy item I wanted all along.
And now I wonder, with your earlier point, did he buy any Cure 3s? Because this would be one of those bosses where they would do a lot of work.
I think Poidrac only bought 5 Cure 2s instead. But Flame on Edge is going to go and do a lot, and Virus from Palom is going to probably do just as much.
Yeah. Especially on a seed where you don't have unlimited money, even if you had the Cure 3s, this is probably a better route to go anyway.
It can feel really hard to throw away 3,000 gold per enemy. My money! My money! I'm a Star Ocean early game enemy. Star Ocean 3 early game enemy. But down go the D-Lunars on Poidrac's side as Y2Sky is going and getting ready for the Twin Harp check.
Well, speaking of that Twin Harp check, we're about to get one of the highlights of this randomizer. Eddie's about to play for us one of hundreds of tunes, I believe, at this point, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got for us tonight.
Same here.
Did your feet find all the right arrows, Baka?
No, but I'm not very good at that game.
I think I missed one.
You're a better man than I. But in the meantime, while Y2Sky was going and doing the twin harp check with the lovely butterfly rendition, getting a Masamune and Objective 2 complete, Poidrac completed her deals and got the hook, which is going to be a character check and opens up the chance of completing objective number 3 if we find a Pinktail sometime soon.
Yeah, our seed continues to be relatively generous. Character check, as you said, and another look at a gated shop, which could have some pretty nice items in it, despite the limited money. There's definitely some things that these runners might shell out for. And again, I have faith in Poidrac, but not immediately going to check Mist following the Ordeals fight. But I think he's going to route it in after this.
Yeah, same here. It is only slightly awkward because you don't have that package to turn in anymore, but it is an extra check. Well, Y2Sky is choosing not to go to Ordeals and is going to be delaying, looks like to be delaying that and maybe going to Dwarf Castle instead.
Yep, taking advantage of the free Dwarven soup pot to refill hit points and magic points completely before hopping back in the airship and checking out our Dwarf Castle check, which could lead to a character check, could get us that Rosa.
Yeah, getting that Rosa would be very nice. Equipping the Masamune is also going to be very nice, as Edge is going to do significantly more damage with that.
And again, Poidrac is amazing at this game, but I'm wondering if the Twin Harp now distracts him from thinking about Demist and kind of puts it one step further removed, or are we immediately going to Demist right now, verifying and validating my faith in Poidrac? Thank you, Poidrac.
Poidrac has either heard you or has lost enough seeds to not checking Demist. Like, no, we're doing this. It's just, I also need to check that pan that I already turned it, that I, got primed to turn in but didn't turn in yet.
Well, not progression, but a useful item. That's the pass that gives you direct access to Zeromus. They could go use it right now if they wanted to, but you do need the crystal to unlock the ability to attack Zeromus. So we're probably going to see that held on to until the time comes.
Yeah, we are. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I see pigs over there on Y2Sky side. What's going on, Baka?
I'm going to guess that Y2Sky peeked the boss of Dwarf Castle and saw it's Golbez. And Golbez is terrified of pigs. Actually, he's not terrified of pigs, but he is going to go and paralyze the entire party, or at least try to. With how status effects work in Final Fantasy IV, if you have a different status effect on, you can go and sometimes prevent the newest status effect from being applied because of the status priority system in Final Fantasy IV. Very helpful for this fight, where after you're paralyzed, your party is killed down to 2 remaining party members, and then you need to go from there. You can gain some extra turns this way, so you're not going to go and potentially get 50-50'd by random spells of your remaining character, or just completely decimated. But you also can't cast Berserker characters.
That is correct. Yep, that piggy status overrides the Berserk as well, our desirable status. But, this is basically where Golbez normally is, though he is one spot removed from his normal location, and this is indeed the scarier spot to face Golbez.
If there is a small boon for Y2Sky, it's that Y2Sky did anchor with Edge, and I've alluded to agility anchoring in this game, and to go over it briefly, because this is the first game that used the ATB formula, the developers had to go and figure out a way, how do we go and determine how long for an ATB tick, and they decided to use Cecil's agility stat. In Free Enterprise, you don't always have Cecil, so instead it's set to go and use your middle character's agility stat. And if you have a very fast character, you will probably go and be getting more turns than a really slow enemy. And this bot only has 8 agility to Edge's starting 20?
Yeah, it's up there. I don't think he has any agility modifiers yet, but he has gained some levels, so it's even higher at this point.
He does get 3 from the Masamune, but
okay.
Still not, it's still, Edge is quite fast compared to Golbez, but your other party members are going to go and be kind of slow compared to him as well. But getting a Starbell off and is doing decent damage to Golbez. 3,000 damage, 3,700 damage lit 3 is mighty frightening.
Much better when it hits Golbez.
Very true, and we are getting encore music from Poidrac.
Well, I'm sure Poidrac will be happy to get the objective done. Maybe not as happy that there's no key item, but getting that Masamune will be nice for now that Poidrac has the edge as well.
Yeah, the Masamune is Edge's highest attack weapon, so if nothing else, it is going to go and make it easier to shoot through bosses, as Y2Sky has chewed through Rubicant in the second slot of Dwarf Castle. Going to be seeing a key item there shortly.
A key item that Red Glove was eagerly pursuing, but we're going to get it off of the necklace of the Dwarven, I guess, princess, would we say?
Yeah, sounds about right. And it's a rat tail. Well, we know that's going to require the Ordeals fight in order to turn in, but that's another key item check, so gets you closer to 10 key items.
It does. It looks like, what are we currently at? 6 on Y2Sky side, and also 6. They have 6, just slightly different ones, it looks like.
Yep, Poidrac has the hook, while Y2Sky has the rat tail. Put them together, you can turn it in. But Poidrac seems to be very interested in getting ready to get that rat tail now, as Poidrac has completed all of the checks on the overworld with all the available checks, with the Twin Harp done, the Baron Infight done, Antlion Cave done, Kabul Defense done, and Ordeals done, while Y2Sky has skipped Ordeals for the moment.
Yep, instead, once again, sipping from the Dwarven soup and going, that kind of telegraphs that you're going to either be going to Keyless Tower or Luca, assuming you have the key, which he does. Because if you're going to Fey March, you wouldn't take the time to heal up and then walk on the damage tiles. And we are getting the Sealed Cave check, which is a nice check in that you can see the key item and then decide whether it's worth your time to fight the boss or not. And often we like to make the check because you can also peek the boss, though any boss that we care about is off the table. Though I guess Y2Sky doesn't know that D-Mist is out there yet.
That is correct. And to answer a question from chat, we have that objective, get Rosa, but Rosa's in our party. Why isn't it done? If you start with Rosa, or Rosa is your second starting character, it does not count as getting them, so you still need to find the duplicate in the seed.
Ironic that, or just fun, that Y2Sky's edge is the visible sprite and just picked up a siren. Probably snuck it out of that chest in Sealed Cave. We'll see if this is a reset. I don't anticipate him going back for the siren, but if he does complete it, that's one extra siren in his pocket.
Yeah, that is, you can steal them, yes, but it does take time, and Y2Sky did get rid of that Porum, who, interestingly enough, fun interaction with Porum and Edge. You can use the Cry command in the SNES version to increase your chances of stealing with Edge. If those of you are familiar with the SNES version, you never get those two characters at the same time.
It's one of the wonderful mysteries and of Free Enterprise and the interactions of Free Enterprise in the original coding. But we're not going to see a reset, so that is +1 Siren and +1 Pinktail. That is Objective 3. Will be able to be completed by Y2Sky as soon as he goes through Ordeals and gets that hook.
Yeah, and as long as he can get through this fight, they are somewhat low level, and this fight is Keinazo. Kind of speedy, but probably not too bad. might be a little tricky. Edge does have an Ice Claw, though, so that's going to feel pretty nice.
Yep, Kanato's going to hit once, raise water up around himself, and then unleash a wave that's about 4% of his current hit points at this location. So the more damage you do, the less output the wave puts out. And I think this is a very close to a 20k or high teens spot. So we're looking at, well, we're about to see a wave come out. And it's knocking down everyone but his highest hit point character. So he's got a decision to make here.
Yeah, the fight is doable, but it is going to be rather mean. It's probably going to take a few setups for this.
Yeah, this is a speedy spot, and one strategy is to just perfectly time those Thor rages, which take the wave down. But it's no guarantee that if you don't time it right, the wave might come down, and then you'll get, or the water will come down, but you'll still get a wave output. So one strategy is to simply get as much damage out as you possibly can as fast as you can to reduce the total damage. So we'll see kind of what Y2Sky pursues here, as he has that very valuable pink tail in hand, but needs to earn it.
Yeah, and Poidrac in the meantime is through that Golbus fight with the same piggy strats Y2Sky did, and is going to go and see the Yang here to get a 5th character. And we'll be getting through Rubicant momentarily, I expect. Also, Poidrac answering a question that I had about Y2Sky. Y2Sky has the Ice Claw on his edge, which will do extra damage to Kinazo when the water is down. And I was curious, why does Y2Sky have an Ice Claw on edge? Then I see this Rubicant, and everything makes sense again.
Yes. He wasn't simply prescient about an upcoming boss, it was an outgoing boss. So I know Y2... Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Y2Sky turned down his battle speed. I think he's having a much better time. He was able to get the Berserk up on edge, and he was able then, with his 3rd turn, get the Thor Rage out and nerf that first wave. So much, really great adjustment by Y2Sky.
Yep, that's going to go and keep these Thor... excuse me, words are hard. Thor Rage came out a little too early that time, but a lot of damage has also come out, so this wave is definitely going to be nowhere near as dangerous as the first one we saw.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to get to maintain their upright status.
And Yang going and just throwing out the Thor Rage, probably going to go and let Edge do all that extra damage with the Ice Claw again. Yep, almost 2,000 damage a swing from Edge. Great to see.
Now,
go ahead.
No. This time you.
I was to say, Poidrac is going to launch a hovercraft while Y2Sky is finishing off this turtle here. So Poidrac's going to go and be able to turn in the rat tail, but we'll need to take 2 trips, as going to need to go back to turn the pink tail when Poidrac should Poidrac eventually go to the Luca cave.
Depending on how the objectives and the other key items needed are laid out, there's a big risk here. If this rat tail, say, leads to a darkness, the sealed cave is one of those checks that some runners do leave behind when they go commit to the moon. So if Poidrac kind of gets pulled in the moon direction, and then the checks there don't lead to his victory, and just as a reminder for anyone new, we see 5 objectives, but the runners only have to complete 4 of them to get the crystal and access to damaging the ultimate bad guy, Aromas, at the end. So Poidrac doesn't necessarily need that pink tail. It's not double required in that location, but we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, we do see that the rat tail merely gives a protect ring, so no great value from it, but no great danger of going and missing the darkness crystal, though. We're running out of places where that darkness crystal can be.
We down to Feymarch and the Keyless Tower at this point.
That is what I'm seeing, so at the very least, one of those 3 spots has to start the chain to the darkness crystal, if not give it outright.
Can you refresh my memory on who we saw down in the Feymarch? We got the bosses checked, didn't we?
Yes, it was the Alt Gauntlet.
That's right.
And someone who is vastly less interesting than the Alt Gauntlet. I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest.
Yep, I remember The runner seeing the blue robe. Okay, Dr. Luge.
Dr. Luge is not a terrible fight down there. The one of the features of Dr. Luge is the top of tower spot has a lot more experience and HP than most other bosses at this stage in the game, because Dr. Luge splits his HP across 4 different entities. There's Dr. Luge himself, there's Belknap, there's Belknap Z, and then there's the final fight with Dr. Luge. If he's in a different spot, that takes the normal 30-ish thousand of that spot and splits it across those 4 enemies, making it much easier to deal with each one.
Yeah, I don't think either of these runners will have a problem with Luge, but neither of them are going to that right away. They both have kind of backtracking checks on each other to make up. Y2Sky climbing ordeals to get his hook, and Poidrac going to get his pink tail as soon as he can get through Keinatsu in the sealed cave. So we may see both runners, within a minute or 2 of each other turning in that pink tail and getting that objective done.
It is rather amusing that these runners are going to complete objective number 3 from the opposite direction from each other. Though I don't believe Poidrac has also checked the character on the hook route, if I'm not mistaken.
Nope, we have not seen the shop nor the character checked. The character, of course, being more important because if it's a Rosa, that is an objective, and combined with the pink tail would give us go mode.
Yes. Yes, we would not need to see any part of this, and we would have Zeromus access in the form of the past. It would be, I imagine there would be some degree of panic in both runners' minds as, oh dear, how long have I been leaving this hanging?
Yep. Ordeals is often a check you see between the 15 and 25 minute mark, and Y2Sky let it go to near the 45 minute mark. And that if he says, oh, yep, the hook was here and I've had pink for, a few minutes now, that thought might cross his mind. We know they're basically pretty even at this point. But yeah, as much as it's fun to see like a long seed with lots of various challenges laid out, it would be kind of fun to challenge our runners tonight with a very jetty seed and no direct moon access other than the pass.
Yeah, it might seem hard to go and get through the long slog of a seeds where you have to go through all these different fights, but the jetty seeds are really scary sometimes, where you go and just see go modes available now. I've left something. How far behind am I, and how much do I cut to try and catch up potentially?
Mm-hmm. Right. You cut that grind short and then leave yourself open to a late Zeromus wipe, which then feels just terrible. So I'm hoping that it's going to force both of these excellent runners to make some pretty quick decisions about how long to grind and what to pursue. But all that requires us finding that Rosa somewhere quick.
Agreed. Yes. That the other scary thing for these runners is if Fusoya is at that hook, and Fusoya is a very great character. He starts when you join him, when he comes in the middle of the game, with every spell in the game, and he doesn't have the most amazing stats, but he's a level 50 character. Getting him pretty early is going to go and make anything easy. That said, we do have a specific challenge where Fusoya does not get to start with all of his spells, because that is a bit overpowered for this flag set. So instead, we need to kill bosses to get back his spells 3 at a time.
Yep, I think that was instituted well before I joined the community, and it's such a great flag. It's a great compromise between how strong Fu is and just kind of having to make you work for it a little bit, because otherwise, if you had a starting or near starting Fu, it would just nuking through Antlion Cave isn't super interesting.
Yeah, there are some flag sets where we have let Fusoya just have his full power, but those are designed to be very speedy flag sets. Those of you very familiar with Free Enterprise may remember something called the World Series of Free Enterprise and the Appleseed races, where we've had some first place finishes being 15 minutes or less.
I've seen those VODs. They're pretty fun to watch.
It is. They're very action-packed 15 minutes, because you have to go. You really have to go.
Yeah, I remember when I was first getting into it, just watching a VOD of just people in their menus applying apples, and it as someone very new to Free Enterprise at the time, it was hard to make sense of for a little while.
Wow, there's a surprising amount of speed tech into using apples on your characters. But speaking of speed tech, Y2Sky is going to be probably getting to this Pinktail turn-in first, as Poidrac is still getting through this Kanazo fight, while Y2Sky has completed all of our deals. Does still need to check Demas to find the path. Easy to forget that in the excitement of, I've got a hook, I've got a rat tail to turn in, I've got a pink tail to turn in. This is going to go. This could give me go mode. Let's see what's going on here.
Yep. I'm hoping that he doesn't fall into that trap and that he kind of catches up item-wise with that. But speaking of an item, we're about to get our pink tail turned in, and we'll see what high-powered item it provides today. Though I think Y2Sky is... Nope, first it looked like he was going to check the hook character first.
I think Y2Sky is, as I said, there's a lot of things happening. You've just gotten a lot of information. You know that this hook has been sitting here for potentially half an hour for Y2Sky. Might be terrified of what this rat tail is. Easy to go and feel a lot of pressure in these races and make what look like silly mistakes. But a Dragoon Spear is not helpful for the party, as that doesn't necessarily go and help. Well, no character can equip it. In the Protect Ring, you're seeing, okay, I'm not missing a key item. Nothing's big here, but I do have 3 objectives done. I'm real close to go mode. What's my next option?
Yeah, and based on what he was doing before, I expect to see our hook dive at this point. Our hook route dive.
Yeah, that hook route dive. You really need to check the character, just because that could be your go mode, and hopefully Y2Sky also remembers to check the Demas to get that pass and be in complete go mode. While Poidrac is stopping at power, is going in and putting Rosa in the top slot, and appears to be getting ready to dive Keyless Tower rather than going and dive the hook character, I think.
It's an interesting call. I'm not sure, if this leads to, of course, Darkness or Earth or Baron, which all gate characters, that could be a big play, assuming that there's no Rosa at the end of Y2Sky's walk through Cave of Blana.
Yes, which is a very big if. We do know that Rosa has to be around, and we've seen, I believe, this would be the 6th character check of our, 7th character check of a seed, and we only have 13 character spot.
Well, here it is, our moment of truth, and this character has amazing hair just like Rosa, but it is not our Rosa.
It is, in fact, Edward the Bard, who has worse HP growth than most mages and doesn't cast spells.
Doesn't have access to the spoon.
Correct. He does have access to the very unique and very special Hide command, which Hide removes the character from the fight completely, so nothing hurts them. They also can't hurt anyone, but details.
Yeah, kind of a passive ability, I guess, but there are some really notable uses for it. I would say our teams are beyond most of those uses at this point.
Yeah, there's the biggest thing I would consider is fighting Odin using Hide strats to get the very rare but existent Thunderstruck kill, where if you go and use if you cast a lightning spell even through an item on Odin at the correct time, you can instantly kill Odin. It's after 2 Zentetsu-Kens, but you can instantly kill Odin.
And was that a part of the original version?
Yes, that is part of Odin's original script. If you use a tool like FF4 Caster and look at a original ROM of Final Fantasy IV, you will see that Odin has a specific script where on the 3rd time he raises his sword, he will set a flag that sets a condition where if he's struck by lightning, he will instantly die. Really hard to do in the US version because you don't have any J items. Kane's the only character who can reasonably survive that, and Ridley's going to be the only person in your party who can cast a lightning spell.
Seems like it would take a very carefully choreographed sequence of actions for that to work out.
It is a very narrow set in the vanilla game. But that is where Free Enterprise shines. If you'd like to go and play Final Fantasy IV, but we're hoping for a new experience, I think you're seeing now. You get a very unique experience with this.
We do see Y2Sky chasing Poidrac up the tower. We're finding Ogo Pogo. A pretty challenging boss, but with the teams at this level and the ability for Rosa to throw out those heals, both runners are going to be getting through Ogo and seeing if Ogo has progression or if they're going to have to walk back down the Fey March and take on either the Gauntlet or Dr. Luge.
Yeah, Ogo Pogo is probably up there with rudeness with Dr. Luge, who just this spot has high HP, hits pretty hard, and Big Wave being a percentage of max HP attack is really mean. If we didn't have Rosa, this fight would actually be quite brutal to try and get through.
Yeah, she's definitely the MVP of this one because even though Palom has great magic attacks, Ogo does counter magic with a counter that I think does, what, 10% of your party's health?
25% of your party's... Each character's maximum HP is ice damage.
That's a bit higher than my 10%. That's even worse.
It's 10% if you have ice resistance gear because
okay.
Blaze, for some reason, is an ice skill.
Well, we got a key item called the Earth Crystal, which in addition to giving you access to a treasury, which I don't know if our runners are going to go after that. More importantly, it gives you 2 character checks, so I'd be very surprised if Poidrac goes anywhere else.
Yeah, that's the character check. Poidrac knows he's one objective away from completing this seed, or being able to complete the seed, so he really wants to find Rosa. And this could be the path to our Darkness Crystal. Not to mention, Fey March is not the most attractive option. Most of the fights there have high damage or high HP or something very rude to them. We know that the Alt Gauntlet, which is going to take a while, and Dr. Luge, who is 2 fights and still also takes a while.
Looks like Poidrac's Hut and Trap Chests in Lower Babel. And we'll see if this is setting up the old Siren Steel. Looks like Edge is about to try to slip his hand into the pocket of a floating spherical eye.
I don't mean to alarm you, but it does seem rather alert. Doesn't seem to have worked that time.
Yeah, it was definitely paying attention.
It's got its eye on us. But Poidrac is also going and knocking down characters because a good way to speed up this grind is to get rid of the turns of everyone between, well, Edge and any other character in the party who is not Edge.
Sometimes when I do this, I like to give myself a little treat and burn an hourglass so it's just Edge and you don't even get that little pop-up message.
I mean, Palom can cast Stop.
He could.
But in the meantime, we do see that Y2Sky has finished that Ogo Pogo fight as well and is going to go and be... I mean, runners are neck and neck at this point. Poidrac's simply taking a small stop to go and get Sirens. Y2Sky may be tempted to do the same or is just going to keep forging onward.
Yeah, I have a few questions about what the runners are going to do. Will Poidrac check the hook character just because it's a quicker walk and no boss fights first? And will Y2Sky remember Mist Dragon and get his pass? I think might be a good time to shout out our team just because I think I noticed our restreamer Solaris mentioned that it's on Y2Sky's personal tracker that he took out the Demas. So I'm hoping he goes back for it because that is the pass, and the pass did play a role in Y2Sky's loss on the other night. So I'm hoping that doesn't bite him again tonight.
I agree. And it's definitely, yes. Let's shout out our restreamer Solaris and our tracker Nightdew. Without them, we wouldn't go and have a show to put on for you. And also our runners for going and letting us go and just show off this great randomizer, going and playing really well and showing all sorts of neat things to do in this randomizer. And another shout out to my co-commentator, Microcourse. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to do commentary with you.
And right baka at you, if you'll allow that.
I'll allow it.
We are about to get a little look at potentially some decent loot under T Pro. We'll find out, but it's time to rate that treasury.
See if we get anything good.
Rate that treasury.
Poidrac is interesting. Exit could be helpful. Second Full Moon, I don't know, is going to be terribly helpful. Gaia Drum is a little late. Coffin, Life Staff is good. That is
Life
plus
Staff,
15
yep.
mil. Cat Claw is very nice to have. Blackstrick could be good.
Crystal Ring.
Crystal Ring's a big hit.
Is that the star of the treasury?
I would definitely go and find that one up. It is definitely the apple of my eye.
I thought this wasn't an apple seed, though.
We, sometimes we sneak them in. You can still find them.
That is true.
But that Crystal Ring is very strong defense and gives +5 agility, which is very helpful for certain anchoring situations. And it gives dragon resistance, which can help if you're fighting a dragon type enemy in a rude spot.
That's definitely one I always forget. I hear it. I'd probably get it right on a multiple choice test, but I sometimes fail to apply it in practice, knowing about the dragon resistance.
There's a lot of things to know for...
Yeah.
Final Fantasy IV has a lot of systems that you kind of don't need to really know, and those crystal rings, good luck finding those. Those are rare drops from blue dragons, and I don't mean rarely is it going to drop. I mean, when you get a drop, you have the 1 in 256 chance of it being a crystal ring. It's very uncommon to see those. Thankfully, we do have something you're not going to go and see our runners do very often, but we do have an option added by the developer. If you're playing casually, you can press select in item menus to see the details of items and learn the descriptions of if it gives dragon resistance or other different unique effects.
Yeah, super useful when you're first learning it, and even now that I've been playing for a while, I still every once in a while will turn that on just to check something out and either confirm something or say, whoops, I was wrong about that.
Yep. I recently learned that the ribbon gives mage resistance. I pride myself on knowing a lot about a lot of these things, but I slip by a lot. Some of those details slip past me.
Poidrac did make the very reasonable call of walking down the hook route, seeing the Edward, immediately resetting, and is now taking advantage of Troya Town's hospitality, healing up, and I think we're about to see both runners take on these Zot fights.
Well, we know it's not going to go and be the Alt Gauntlet. That's sadly Zinian, the King Leviathan spot of Feymarch, and we can only have one copy of each boss in the seed. But we can still get some fun fights, like we can deal with Wyvern, we can deal with Valvalis. Vigan might be out, but CPU is still around. Any fights you're hoping to go and see our runners get stuff stymied by?
Those are all good options. I would be feeling confident, if I were either of these runners with their teams and their levels to be able to take on anything. So I think at worst, even the trickiest boss here is just going to be a little bit of annoying speed bump. CPU just might take a little longer to chop through some HP. But let's see who's here in spot 1.
Yeah, and
be that Wyvern you were hoping for.
It's a Lunar Sparkle. We got a 1 in 4 chance. It's the other Moon Dragon. Hey, this is the time we get to go into, that moon, that dragon resistance actually can come into play, because that will go and reduce the damage from Pale Dim.
That's true. We'll see if Pale Dim even gets to hit anyone. This is another one of those spots with a fast anchor in it. Pale Dim might not get a turn.
Yeah, Pale Dim is not really taking the spotlight here. Oh, he got to do his counterattack.
Yeah. And you can actually see the difference based on Poidrac's anchor. Pale Dim, I believe, got a shot in pretty early. Not that did much damage, but... Or I could be wrong about that. Maybe I missed it.
I think Poidrac still has a curse ring on Sid, so... Yeah, Sid's taking some hits. 41 damage, definitely nothing impressive. But Y2Sky is through that fight, while Poidrac might be taking some extra animations just from the counters and the slow animations from the Berserk fighters.
Yeah, not a huge deal here, but it's always fun to see, that how the agility setup just has that little bit of effect of their, when you get your turns, when the enemy gets their turns, and ultimately how quickly you get through a fight.
Yeah, Y2Sky got through it faster. Peldon got fewer turns to throw punches, which it's a second or two, but it's still a second or two Y2Sky didn't have to get. And Y2Sky did pick up some time throwing a Drain Spear for 8,000 damage, further reducing the number of counters.
And that is not our Rosa, so the hunt for Rosa goes on. We could also get to go mode by forging the legend with adamant, but we have neither of those key items yet. So what we had thoughts might be a jet, still might not be.
Yeah, wow. We see a duplicate Edward. There are 13 character slots. We have 10 distinct characters in the seed, so 2 characters will be left out, and there'll be 3 duplicates. We've seen we know there's one duplicate Rosa. We've seen a duplicate Edward. There's one duplicate we haven't seen in the seed, and we've got, I believe, 3 character spots to see at this point.
Yeah, so we have what? We have the lunar spot, we have Baron, and yep, at the end of the giant.
It would be so rude if you see yet another Edward on the lunar dais, so you know you have a 50-50 chance of the giant to go and have Rosa. But you also have the whole moon that could go and give you the adamant and legend sword, but it could be behind some chains. Just real ugly looking at this point, with so many spots checked and still not finding that Rosa.
It does look like, though, we're basically running out of chains aside from Baron, if I'm right, looking at the key items correctly.
Yeah, the only chains we have are Baron Key and Tower Key. No other gated spots exist. We have checked all the rest of them, and we're about to see what key item we get from this Tower of Zot.
Or will both of our runners be quite nervous to receive a non-key item? We're about to find out.
Oh, they get the spoon too. It's a key item.
That is. With an edge, not bad.
Yeah. That's our way to the moon. There's the darkness crystal.
And once again, the hopes for a jet are reinstated because Rosa could be waiting on that lunar dais. But like you said, if that's an Edward, then probably they're going to be hunting for the forge at that point.
Yeah, that's that is ugly. Like, if you find the Baron key on the first check of the moon, there could be a case to check it, because even if you don't get both parts of Forge and Baron, you can get information as to whether Rose is there, or if she's not there, but she's definitely in the giant, so you could go and finish off there. But then you have to go through both fights in the giant, and those are some pretty serious late game fights.
They are. You could luck into some easier bosses. I am very happy to see that Y2Sky did check that Demas, got that pass. I'm sure he's breathing a sigh of relief that he has that in hand this time, and which allows you to kind of take on the moon with the knowledge that you can easily, especially with Forge, you have to come back to Earth to complete it anyway. Get back to the Z fight without worrying about double dipping the moon.
Yeah, both runners probably feeling good about that pass, because there is no way for them to go and get their crystal on the moon. They either have to return to the Earth to do Baron, or do the giant, which also leaves them on Earth. And forging, as you mentioned, you have to do on Earth, so you could potentially walk down to the bottom of the lunar subterrane, find any or all of the parts of either objective, need to come back out and do those, and then if you didn't have that pass, you'd have to walk all the way back down to the bottom of the lunar subterrane again.
Yeah, that's a few minutes that you would rather not spend that way. We have Y2Sky is doing a little bit of shopping, so Poidrac looks like, unless Poidrac deviates, is going to beat Sky to the moon. Y2Sky found some good camping gear in Baron. Unless I'm mistaken, unless Poidrac picked that up. I know one of our runners found cabins in Baron, and it looks like Y2Sky just bought some Bacchus wine in Tamra.
I do believe Y2Sky was doing some shopping, because Y2Sky stayed at Baron to go into shops, and while Poidrac did not seem terribly interested in checking those shops, and is instead going, and I don't know exactly which tile Poidrac landed on the moon, and I don't think Poidrac is confident either. Going to go and make a slight adjustment to make sure he is not going to be on that raised platform, and instead right in front of the Lunar Palace to see, is this Rosa, or are we still going?
Rate that lunar character.
I give this lunar character a 10 out of 10.
And an immediate reset back to Earth. I wonder what Poidrac, as Poidrac is going to go hit that Feymarch at this point.
I don't know if Poidrac's going to hit Feymarch or if Poidrac is going to go and burn those sirens and go to the giant.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Or
you give yourself
go ahead.
Yeah, you give yourself a few levels and then finish off the grind in the giant with a Rosa payoff would be the ticket to the end of the seed and a possible win.
Yeah, that is definitely... That's a way to win the seed. You can, I don't know how much experience Poidrac has, but 11 Sirens might be enough to take Hallam all the way to Nuke. But it looks like Y2Sky managed to find some Sirens on the moon, saving the time that Poidrac spent to go and steal them. Poidrac does have the option to, probably has more money at this point thanks to not buying Sirens, and can afford more niceties like Bacchus wines.
Yep, both of our runners have 10 key items. If you're new to this randomizer, that you've probably heard us say it, and it's a significant number because once you hit 10 key items under this flag set, at least, it doubles your experience. So you're seeing Poidrac get 68,000 experience per one of these very easy egg kills, where normally it would give you 34. So taking advantage of that bonus, and like you said, potentially getting the Quake Kid all the way up to becoming a Nuke Kid.
Yeah, at 68,000, small bit of math. The Hallam requires 900,000 experience to get to Nuke. With 11 Sirens, you can get to about 760,000 experience. Only need to have gotten 220,000 experience from all the other checks that Poidrac has done so far. Might be kind of close to that.
I think I'm checking the chart right now. A Palom with high 900s hit points does have somewhere in the 200,000 worth of experience.
That could be just enough to squeak out Nuke, which Nuke is a big accelerator. It's a long time investment to go and get there, but pre-Nuke Palom and post-Nuke Palom, that's Palom is really good at just doing tons of damage with his magic. And if you need to chunk through spots that have 30 or 60,000 HP, Palom's gonna be doing a third or a sixth of that damage almost by himself each time he gets a turn.
Yeah, it's a massive amount.
And Y2Sky is choosing to go and do the numbers play, as I think of it, because Y2Sky is going to go to the bottom of the lunar subterranean where there are a cluster of 4 boss fights, which lead to 5 key item checks.
Yep, and aside from that Rosa, only needing 2 key items for Go mode in the form of the Legend Sword and the Adamant Rock. Hoping that it pays off. If one of those 2 things is waiting in Feymarch, it's going to be a little rougher. And with this pretty generous seed coming into its later stages, just a reminder that Poidrac is currently up 1 game to 2. 1 game to nothing in the first 2 wins. So Y2Sky a bit more back against the wall situation right now. And Poidrac perhaps trying to finish it off. As you said, we'll see if he ends up going giant with the levels he just got, or if he's going to follow Y2Sky down the moon. Yeah,
there's a lot of options. Poidrac just, I've got money to burn. Give me lots of Bacchus wine. I want to go and get my Zerkers going instantly. You can go and pop that on their first turn, get a Berserk going, and just start ripping through enemies easily.
We saw eggs underground with Poidrac. We're seeing a trio of Warlocks on the moon with Y2Sky, another one of the popular grinds, gives tons of experience, and you can easily eliminate basically their only attack with a Mute Bell. One of them will punch when they're down to 1, but chances are it's not going to do too much damage. And again, racking up the experience, 10 key items. Unlike the eggs, you can throw life glitches on this. And but look over at Poidrac's screen. What you alluded to earlier is happening.
We're going to the giant. On this flag set, we do not see the giant very often because we have a flag turned on called Vanilla Giant, where once you enter the giant, you only leave it after you've beaten both the bosses and walk out the other end. As in Free Enterprise, normally there's a little sparkle at the end of what this tongue-shaped room is. We take that out, so you cannot go and come in here. This is mostly to combat the ability to do a D-Machine grind, which is another way to go and get loads of experience.
This is super exciting. Of course, Poidrac could find the Rosa at the end of 2 fights. Y2Sky could, for all we know, find the Baron key on his very first check and decide to chase it. So, the decisions being made right now could determine this race and, of course, both of these players' future in this tournament. So, love seeing these 2 different plays right now.
Yeah, and Y2Sky is grinding. Eggs are very fast. This Warlock fight is not slow, but it is taking a bit more time than I expect Y2Sky likes. As Poidrac already has new... Oh my goodness, Poidrac has found a very free fight here too.
So far this gamble's paying off. As long as the next fight is not too bad, he's going to be getting through this giant pretty quickly and getting that character check right taken care of, and either knowing it's in Baron or getting his go mode.
Yeah, I think the only thing that Poidrac's annoyed about is he burned a siren to make sure that Sid stayed down, or burned a coffin to make sure Sid stays down. This fight does not have the boss bit, and you can go and use status abilities on these enemies to just instantly kill them. But we're getting a Quake out. We're just going to go and throw the damage at these things to take out these soldiers and potentially kill the officer as well.
Yeah, key item bonus. There's a whole mess of experience just waiting to be scooped up by Poidrac. We'll see how much he values going for the full thing, or if he's content, because he has pretty decent levels already, if he's content just to let the officer retreat eventually.
Yeah, he's got... They're not Zeromus levels for these melee fighters. Edge is below 2000 HP. Yang is not quite as high as you'd like him to be to go and do the massive amounts of damage he can. But these giant swipes will probably go and get you the rest of the way there. The Palom at 1400 HP might not go and have the stone spell, which would be another way to instantly kill these enemies.
Yeah, I think if he had it, we probably would have seen that right away.
But it's not like these soldiers are standing up for much. The last one's down. I believe we're going to go and see the officer bravely run away.
Yeah, he's got the lion's share of the HP here, so I don't think they're going to get through it all unless just with normal berserking. But we'll see. Nope. Officer's had enough.
Only getting 100,000, which sounds rather silly, but the spot can give up to 200,000 with the 10 key item bonus.
Even though that's fight. All you.
I was going to say, Y2Sky is done with his grind, is going to see the ribbon room, and we'll see what fight is here. And that's Dark Elf. That's another pretty free fight.
Not too bad. We'll see what Poidrac runs into at the CPU spot. Much less HP at this spot.
Oh, but Odin is not a free fight.
This is a very high magic spot, a very fast spot, a very high physical spot. Or am I wrong about being a high magic spot? In other words, is this Setsuken going to do a ton of damage to these characters?
It's probably going to hurt a fair bit because below 199 does almost guaranteed 9,999 damage here. And there's a lot of spots where it doesn't do that much damage. I'm pretty sure this Intensuken's really going to hurt.
Yeah, because this is a spot where Golbez annihilates himself pretty easily.
Yeah, and CPU has doesn't actually use the stats for anything, so why not just max them out and be done with it? But Odin's down.
Yeah, nice job. The kid's the nuke.
That's Young missing experience is probably gonna hurt a little, but Nuke more than makes up for it. The question is, did Poidrac win the 50-50?
It came up heads.
Poidrac wins the 50-50. Rosa is here. Poidrac's in go mode. This is, just to reiterate, there is 2 characters left in the game. Rosa is one, the 10th character is the other. There is no chance for Baron to give Rosa at this point. So Y2Sky has to get the Adamant and the Legend Sword quickly in order to go and still be in this race. Because Poidrac, when you have a Palom with Nuke, you have a lot of power to take to your Zeromus fight.
Yeah, it better be right here, these two items in Ribbon. This is, right now, absolutely Poidrac's to win. He's going to fly that whale right over to Troya, land it in the one tile spot, use the pass. He just got a whole mess of experience, a whole bunch of levels. He's got Nuke on Palom. It's going to be very tough, barring any kind of disaster on Poidrac's side, for Y2Sky to do it, especially if both of these items are not what he needs. He went 1 for 2.
Adamant's good, but I mean, he needs something. Y2Sky needs something free from the White Sphere spot to be able to go and stay in this. This is. Poidrac has a mostly level 50 party. You see in a Zerker setup, level 40s being more than fine, and Rosa is going to be very safe from pretty much any big bang. Finding a Silk Whip here as well, because why would you go and not want that for this? Poidrac is definitely going in, probably feeling pretty confident going into this fight.
Everything's coming up Poidrac right now, and as he makes his final preparations, I added my own Z flags to chat among theirs, because we're about to see, in addition to music, one of the best randomized parts of this entire randomizer free enterprise. Tell us about what we're about to see, because we got Zeromus coming up.
Indeed, and because Zeromus is the final boss of the game, he doesn't get moved around. He is a bit too mean, a bit too complicated, and just kind of a bit too ugly to let out of this Luna subterrane. We don't like going and letting him be just anywhere in the world. We want him to be the final climactic fight that our runners are building towards and getting ready to do battle with and know what they're getting into. But we are still on randomizer, as Microcorg said. We gotta randomize something. So instead of changing the script to the boss, we change what Zeromus looks like. And thanks to Scalikitty and Boardface, we have 527 different sprites to choose from. Which one we're going to get today? We can only find out now as we find out whose butt we're kicking tonight.
Well, I'm pumped up. I want to see this butt. I want to see who it is, and I want to see just how well Poidrac can handle this fight, given his pretty decent levels. It would take probably a miss menu or something, and even that, I think, is going to be hard to hold Poidrac's team back.
Yeah, we could have a vaunted, well, not vaunted, more of a haunted Big Bang into Medio, wiping out most or all of the team, but that is still not going to be enough to take out Yang straight up, I think. And I really hope you're ready to duel, because someone is.
We've got Kaibamus here taking Zeromus' spot.
This is it's good to see Yukio making some representation. Meanwhile, Y2Sky unfortunately going and finding an apple from the White Spear spot. That is not the Legend Sword you want.
And not enough to qualify as an apple seed.
Also checking in with the Kaiba meme, Scalikitty with, screw the odds, Kaiba shows up when he wants.
And here he is, trying to take down our runners' final teams, but Poidrac right now and Y2Sky, when he gets there, I don't think are going to have any problems. We see the first Big Bang coming out, but I believe it was nerfed. We'll see the damage it puts out. Yep, that's a nerfed first Big Bang. Even our anchor, Sid, getting in on the Bacchus party.
Yep, that's Sid is wearing a curse string, which goes and takes down 15 from all of his stats, but he still has a giant pool of HP. I think Sid also took the counter nuke, so yeah, he's just trucking along. He's going to go and be doing all he can.
So we've got hybrid strats in play. Berserked team, nuke kid throwing out nukes, reflected to avoid the counters, hitting for 7k plus. Lots of damage coming out. Nearly 3k from that edge, and what's Yang doing? 2k, so yeah, lots of damage coming out every round.
Just going to go, seeing some nice hybrid strats. If you go and you could do full reflex strats where you go and avoid doing direct damage to Zeromus after a certain point, where you can. Zeromus will do some funny things with his HP, but I don't think we're going to see any funny tricks from Poidrac. I think we're just going to see all sorts of damage come out.
Nope. And you know when your healer has time and to throw out her top level offensive spell White to do damage, the fight is well in hand. There's no desperation healing happening.
Yeah, this is poor Kaibamus is going to get beat up a lot today, I think. And not to mention Y2Sky finding the Baron Key from the Ogopogo altar. That is not the Legend Sword Y2Sky needs, and is unfortunately going to take him a bit further away. At the worst, this Baron Key can go and give. Well, the best for Y2Sky is as Y2Sky exits out, he gets the Legend Sword, but Y2Sky is unfortunately falling a bit further and further behind Poidrac, as Poidrac is just destroying this Kaibamus.
Yep, at worst, those big bangs, if they're unnerfed, they're going to do a little over 2,000. I mean, they can occasionally roll even higher than that, but you have a Yang sitting at 3,500, Sid at close to 3,000, and even Edge, who normally doesn't have a ton of hit points, well into the mid twos, so pretty sturdy.
Yeah, this is it is going to be very hard for Poidrac's team to go down, and another feature of Zeromus. Zeromus, one of the things he does is as a counterattack, refills his HP to give him a bit of extra. The longer the fight, if you see the shake come out and then no big bang and then a shake again, that's Zeromus having refilled his HP to maximum and putting us into phase 2. We're just seeing so much damage come out, Zeromus isn't getting a chance to do those attacks much.
Nope, Zeromus is getting a lesson in all forms of offense. Martial, magical, Sid level offense as well.
Yeah, Sid is bringing the tech to Zeromus, showing him all the neat ways that hammers can go and be present in the Zeromus fight. But there we are. Poidrac has defeated Kaibamus, not even getting to Meteo phase or seeing any rocks. And Poidrac, with an official time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, 50 seconds, has advanced to the next round of the bracket. We are joined by Poidrac now. GG Poidrac.
I may have spit out my coffee a little bit.
And we have to ask the elephant in the room. What led you to Giant?
Hunch. Complete and utter hunch.
Well, go ahead.
I assume when you made that decision, you were hoping to see an easy or quick or doable boss in that first element spot, and was the coffee spitting out at that point when you saw those Kaipo guards arranging themselves?
No, at Rosa. It was at Rosa. I honestly went up on a hunch. I didn't expect it to pay off. I didn't expect it to get me the game, and it did.
That was definitely a big swing. You had the one game advantage. Were you feeling a bit more secure in that, or are you just, I'm going with my gut, we're going to go and check to see what we get here?
No, not at all. As I found out, much to my chagrin, on Tuesday, Y2Sky actually has me in speed in speed in check to check. So it was sort of, I need to make this up somewhere. And the way it worked was, well, it's unlikely he's going to go to Giant. I've got a hunch that there's 3 spots left. If it's got a good possibility that it's going to be Rosa, let's just go and check it, and if it pays off, it pays off.
Were you also thinking if it doesn't pay off, well, there's my grind, and now I'll be ready to do the rest of the checks? Or was it kind of an all or nothing?
All or nothing. Absolutely all or nothing. Because when I was when I sort of had just Rosa left to find all the forge, it was like I need to do something off the wall.
Mm.
Yeah, that was definitely a solid play though, going and committing to that giant. As what comes up on screen, we did find the 10th character finally. It is a Fusoya.
Food's not bad. I was hoping he would come in so so I could swap him out for Palom, but in the end I just didn't need it since I just had the levels at the end of it after doing giant.
Were you confident when you hit that CPU fight and saw the Odin after the very easy Kaipo guards, or were you a little nervous knowing the high damage at that spot?
A little bit nervous. That is dangerous, especially when he took out Yang in the first 3 punches. He didn't want to attack the back row at all for some reason. I knew Palom was likely to go and get at least one lit free off, and Zerkin Edge sort of would have got things going a bit. But yeah, it was difficult to just say, hey, that was great. That I was going to win it straight up. I was expecting at least one reset if I needed to, but that's about it.
Yeah, that I imagine you're definitely close on that Odin fight. That Odin was threateningly holding his sword up for quite some time, but you managed to pull through that and get your Rosa for your objective number 5 and final objective. When you were going through that seed and found the pink tail in the Luca cave with the hook you got from Ordeals, how were you feeling at that moment?
Can I be perfectly honest? Not good. But that's actually a product for this entire day. I haven't felt good. And strangely enough, that's a good thing. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Some of my best plays and some of my best wins have been when I've felt my most horrible.
So you're saying horrible outside of Free Enterprise?
Yes. So I haven't felt great in terms of the day I've had today, and it was just like, this is good. My mind's going to be clear going into this race. Come what may.
Sounds like it absolutely worked for you.
Yeah.
Just wing it. Just go with the flow. Just go and do your thing, and you will be fine. And that's how it worked out.
Hey, you're definitely 2-0 in this series is definitely a solid place to be, as you will be advancing to the next stage of the brackets.
Yeah.
You were talking about making up time on Y2Sky with checks, but yeah, you do have an opponent ahead of you who is known for making fairly efficient checks.
Yes, Dusty Griff. I don't think I've really shown a whole lot of things that he's going to be afraid of, and to be honest, I doubt he's really going to be thinking that he's going to lose this the race next week. But he's not. He's also one of those people that will take me seriously, no matter what, because he knows the game inside and out. So I'm very much up against it, and it may be one of these plays, just like today, where I do something off the wall, something that is completely unexpected, that works out, that gets me maybe a win against him. I doubt it's going to get me 2, but I'm just going to go with it and just see what happens.
Always a fine attitude to take. It is. Dusty Griff is definitely a terrifying opponent. He's not the two-time champion for nothing, but you definitely have shown that you have got the gusto to go for it.
Yeah, and another thing is my record against him absolutely stinks. I've got about 3 ahead of him finishes in more than 50 races, so that's a good one.
Just add 2 more to that pile.
I'm hoping to.
Yeah, just add them, like, you're saving them from their really count. Odds can't know goes Dusty's way, right? You just, get those wins, go and shore up that win percentage here and now. Great time for it.
Yeah.
You mentioned maybe doing off the wall stuff. Would that be something you would consider practicing? Like, would you run practice seeds with that in mind? Like, have in mind, oh, I'm facing someone as skilled and efficient as Dusty, and then actually practice off the wall stuff?
What is this word? Practice.
That's what I'm wondering. I guess maybe there's not a lot of that.
I hear lawyers do that. Or maybe that's what lawyers... That's how you be a lawyer. I don't know. I'm not very good at this either.
I'm just saying that because I am one of these people that does not practice very much at all. I've done races in the ladder with the Lali-Ho only brackets. I've done a couple of live race pickup races, and maybe one async. But practice is not something I do because it comes back to going into the race with a clear mind, and I don't want anything in there to distract me and say I should have done something differently just then. Don't dwell on the past of what you've done. Go with the flow. Do it.
So you're saying you don't want the bulk of practice seeds and all the decisions you made in them to kind of cascade into your actual race, is what you're saying?
Pretty much. The only thing that I've really focused on in any of the races is money, because money is a big deal. What am I buying? What am I looking for in a shop? That's it. Everything else, take the seed as it comes. I know the game well enough. I know the mechanics of the game well enough that I don't need to do too much to do well, except have a bit of luck.
You certainly had a bit of luck, but you definitely made a lot of it yourself with a seed. GG's again on your victory, and looking forward to see you next week.
We'll see what happens, and I'll let Y2Sky finish up. It looks like he's dueling at the moment, so I will speak to everyone again very soon. Have a good evening, everyone.
GG Poidrac, congratulations. Enjoy the victory.
Yes, thank you, Poidrac GG's. And that was our first place finisher, Poidrac, as Y2Sky, choosing not to do the Giant because it's a 50-50 play. He could very easily not pay out. Finding the Baron Key on the moon, choosing to go for that. Not getting rewarded with Rosa, as Poidrac had already finished, but does get the Soya, but did get the Adamant from the Ribbon Spot and the Legend Sword from the Baron Pot, so is in those Aromas fight now.
Yep, was able to swap out the young powerful mage for the slightly older powerful mage.
And I expect that Y2Sky is also going to have a pretty well-in-hand Z fight.
We had that Warlock grind, and we had those couple of few moon fights to gain that experience. So yeah, definitely. Even though neither player had to full clear the moon, and of course Poidrac was able to avoid it entirely with his giant play, there was still experience to be had, and both players. Yeah, we were speculating early, would they have to go into an under-leveled Z fight, and the answer turned out to be no for both of them.
Yeah, it's definitely going for those levels. Really helps when you're dealing with the moon. Definitely helping Rosa now as she takes a full-powered Big Bang and only surviving with 300 HP. Soya and Sid go down, but I don't know if Soya is going to be coming back up. Y2Sky getting something that Poidrac did not have, which is a black hole, which cleanses all of your buffs, mostly Berserk and Wall in our runner's case.
And just that one black hole immediately into the final phase of the Zeromus fight, the Meteo phase. So another Berserk applied, and this fight is going to be over fairly soon.
Yeah, Poidrac managed to skip this just by pushing out extra damage with Palom, while Y2Sky, yeah, we're in it, but we don't need to do anything but throw out a bit more damage ourselves. Second Meteo, but this is a very low-powered Meteo, only doing about 1,000 damage to the party, and I think we're going to see this finish just... Here it is now, Y2Sky finishing with an official time of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 14 seconds.
Joining us now in the booth is our runner-up tonight, Y2Sky. Well fought, well played, both races. Unfortunately, you were on the shorter end of the stick tonight. How are you feeling after your race tonight?
The outcome's definitely disappointing. Especially GG to Poidrac. That was a good call on the coin flip. A little disappointing. I felt I had a little bit better lead on execution, as part of my reasoning for going Moon. But turns out from talking with Poidrac and Solaris after we were both finished, we were close throughout. So kind of just misevaluated things in the end, but otherwise I was happy with that run. Just wish I would have set myself up for another shot in game one, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's... Poidrac taking the 50-50 on the Giant was definitely a gutsy play on Poidrac's behalf that paid out for him. It very easily could have gone and set him significantly further behind you, as the Moon is not a bad play. You know you're going to go and get key items up there. You can go and just pull the Legend Sword and the Adamant up there straight up and not need to do Baron. It was definitely not a bad play, and you were both very neck and neck. Poidrac mostly choosing that Divergence is just where where that difference came from. And it most certainly was not in the quality of play. It was in the decisions that Poidrac made and the gamble that he went for. But that, while you are unfortunately out, we would like to go and hear a bit of your thoughts on the bracket flags and the Cell Zero and just your general experience with them.
I like them a lot better than table flags from ZZ3. I think just because some of the checks can be more rewarding, especially if you pull a Fu, or you're able to get a Cecil online. It's a lot better than in table where ZZ3 table where you find a Cecil and an Excal. Oh, well, too bad. You've got to either find a second Cecil or deal with agility issues. And no Fu. So just being able to make some decisions and kind of win or lose races based on that makes for a very fun format. The Cell Zero was a fun set to play around, especially since it made each seed kind of its own little puzzle as far as how much do you loot, and Lali-Ho League as a whole, I think a lot of my races hinged around, okay, when can I keep looting? When can I keep looking? When do I need to keep looking for stuff? And when am I okay to start pushing? And that's a lot of what I got to work on to get faster at these advanced flag sets. Is just getting to the level where I see the top runners just able to just push fights and just knowing what you're going to do without worrying about it. I think that's what got me through the latter part of Swiss. Hopefully I can turn around in ZZ4 and do it in the advanced format as well.
I was going to ask, now that you have been eliminated from this one, if you had future thoughts about where you'd be going next in your free enterprise playing career, if you're going to take a little break, or I don't know if you've had a chance to join the ladder yet, because I was recently eliminated from the Lali-Ho League by a fine runner known as Y2Sky, and I found a lot of solace in the ladder getting that competition there.
There's probably going to be a little break, but definitely some off-season work that needs to happen on the advanced flag set, where I just put myself in a position where I know the fights a little bit more, I'm kind of more comfortable in T Pro in particular. But I'm very happy with the progress between ZZ3 and here. So, and yeah, losing to Poidrac is heartbreaking, but it's not as heartbreaking as Hook 2 was in ZZ3. So, yeah, great season overall.
All right, that's definitely fair. There's a lot of great talent. You being, obviously you being one of them, Poidrac being another great runner it's just a very stiff field, and I am glad to see that you're not only feeling better about your play from ZZ3 to Lali-Ho League, but looking forward to going to playing in ZZ4. I'm very happy that you are enjoying Free Enterprise as much as you are, and looking forward to your next competition.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Thanks to Restream team, leads, admins, everybody for putting on this show. This has been a fantastic ride over these last few months.
Definitely glad you've enjoyed it. Do you have any final thoughts on the seed or just tournament in general?
No, it's going to be interesting to see how the brackets play out, because like you said, the field was pretty stacked to begin with, even in Swiss. So just some of the matchups coming up are going to be just absolute entertainment.
GG again, Y2Sky. Congrats on your run in the LHL. I know it came up short from what you were hoping for, but as you said, we're going to see you in the future, and I know the next time that we match up, will definitely be, along with many other folks, a runner to take very seriously and have to compete at the highest level to defeat. So, GG, congrats again for making it as far as you did.
All right. Yep. Thanks, Micro. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, GG's. Definitely check out the ladder. It's a great fun. I am personally fond of Sea Hero, but I like agility nonsense. But that will be the end of our race, as this is the end of our set between Poidrac and Y2Sky. Poidrac narrowly winning the first match and then going and taking a very gutsy move to secure his second win in this race, where he has gone and went to the Giant on a 50-50 to get the last character check.
Yep, amazingly great play, a great risk, and it paid off. So congratulations one more time to our winner, Poidrac, who's going to be facing off against, as we've been saying, if you're new to the community, Dusty Griff has won 2 of our larger tournaments, is one of the best runners around. And I believe we're about to go raid into Dusty's stream. Poidrac, if he sticks around, will get a chance to scout his upcoming opponent. And anyone else, definitely hang out in Dusty's stream. You would, if you're new to Free Enterprise, you will learn a lot. He's an amazing streamer, so give him a good, warm welcome when we go raid him.
Yes, and please do not spoil the results of this race for viewers of Dusty's chat, as some people do very much so enjoy to see these results on the VOD themselves. So feel free to tell them it's a good one, though.